Oh. Hey, everybody. All right, so we're back after a unsuccessful attempt yesterday because of a snowstorm, it turns out. Hey, everybody. All right, so yeah. Yeah, so we tried, for those of you that, there was only a few of you, I think, that, because it happened pretty quick, probably got a notification that I was live, and then nothing. And we had a snow, like an ice storm in the area, and I guess something lost power. In fact, my power went out right after the feed died. And it's only because I didn't realize I have a backup here for about 10 or 11 minutes. So even though I had lights on, anyways, you know the drill. So that's what happened. I waited it out, but after about an hour, the power was actually off for a couple hours. So nice. Hey, getting any chord down, is good. So that's fantastic. And the D chord is so good. G to C. Yeah, okay. I'll tell you why. I'm assuming, and again, nothing wrong with this, but I'm assuming that's how you play your G. And then you're going to go into a C. So look what's happening. G. Just want to make sure that I'm in the frame of, yeah, you can see what I'm doing. Okay. All right, so there's a couple of fixes here as far as G to C goes. If you are playing your G this way, well, what happens is, in order to get to your C and vice versa, you're actually, like, you're doing a lot. You're actually taking, you got to pretty much take your fingers right off. You got to rotate your wrist to a different position, and you got to reset your fingers. And hey, if you were to do this and want to do it this way, this is the only thing that you can do, right? Take care to only get those 5 strings on the C and the 6 strings on the G. Now, if you were to do this half an hour straight, 3-4 days, maybe less, I'm pretty sure it's going to really help. However, there are other things that might make it easier. And there, you know, it's hard for me to tell just from your words, but maybe there's a reason that something's stopping you physically from really getting a smooth. So I don't know these things. So I'm going to give you the rundown. So that's the first thing, is to try to keep at that Whenever you're in doubt with anything, slow it right down. Dummy it right down. That is so important, right? So in this case, while the chord's ringing out, try to make a nice... Don't worry about timing. Don't worry about how long it takes you. Get down to the speed that you don't have to interrupt your right hand. So even if it's like this. That's a start. And then over time, start to get a little bit quicker. That's unfortunately the only real thing I can advise you that way. Is just put in slow, dedicated practice time. Do this at the beginning of your practice routine so that you are freshest and sharpest before you kind of start getting a little tired physically and both mentally, right? So always practice new things that you're working on as the first thing in your practice after your warm-up. And what I mean by a warm-up is whatever it is you like to do just to get in the mood, just to get your fingers going. So for me, it's usually something like this. Just to get things going. And then I would jump into something you're working on. So that's the first tip, or your first path to get over this okay, good question, Brenda. I'll get to that in a second. As soon as I deal with Richard's issue here. Hi, Super TV Vincent. Slow and steady is actually the words of the day. Slow and steady. The word of the day, or words of the day. Brought to us by Mr. Super T Vincent. Okay. Slow and easy. All right. So that's the first thing. To stay as you're supposed to be learning as a beginner. Slow it right down. The other thing you can do. All right. So the next thing you can do, I call this the add 9 box. You don't have to know what the add 9 means. But in this case, we're going to play our C and G a little bit differently. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the back 2 fingers and we're going to plant them right here on the 3rd fret of the 1st and 2nd string. Okay? Right there like that. Okay? Then we are going to take our G, our normal G. So really we're playing a normal G. The only difference is most people use their ring finger to get that note at the bottom, that G, the bottom of the guitar, which is the highest G. But we're going to move that up to the 2nd string, so we're playing a D. Remember, we can only play G, Bs, and Ds. There's only 3 notes in a G chord, G, B, and D. So there's a G, there's a B, the rest are open, and now we're fretting a D, and we're going to bring our pinky in to fret that G. So it should look like that on your fretboard. And then you're going to bring your G over. So there's your G. Okay, so it's basically the same G as you learned. You're just adding one more fretted note, which is this. You're not adding a note, but you're playing another D. Okay. And then we're just going to simply take these 2 fingers and move them down 1 string. So these are going to stay where they are, but these 2 fingers are going to. Now this is not a C major; it's a C add 9. This is a G major, but they probably call it an add 9 because, let's see, in G, the 8th note would be G, 7th, 8th, and then, so we have 7, 8. Yeah, it would be I think it's a G major, but it could be a G add 9. It doesn't matter. Okay, that's my whole point. That's why I don't get hung up on knowing what chords. I know my majors, I know my minors, that's it. Okay, after that, it's a G, okay? Now, all we got to do to transition now So you might find that easier. That is called a C add 9 up to a G, if you want to give it a label. So you see, all we're doing now is removing 2 fingers, and we're leaving these planted. Now, if you want to take this just one step further, okay, you can do this. That's an E minor I'm playing now, but I've left my 2 fingers attached to these 2 strings. G, D, G, D, A, some sort of A, E minor, G, D. Okay, now, if we were to move this down 2 and take a capo and put it on the 2nd fret like that, okay? Now we have something like this. Today is gonna be the day. You get it, right? That's, I call that the add 9 box, because once you've got those 2 fingers planted on those proper notes, doesn't matter if you have a capo or you don't have a capo. It doesn't matter what you do up here, as long as you're planted. And now you've got this one note right here, which is an A, okay? You got this note here, which is, or this is some sort of a D. This makes this like a D, okay? So this is a version of a D. This makes it a version of an A, and this is your E minor. So that's what you can do with that. But in your case, you're just worried about G down to C. All right, practicing. Now, I'm going to put together a full-length video about this. But, so I can't 100% tell you what to practice because I don't know where you are, right, in your journey. So let's do this. If you have 1 hour to practice, okay, then what I would do is you got to warm up. 5 minutes of warming up. What you would do to warm up is something that makes you feel good. Something that you can do. So if you're early in your journey and you can only play G to D, then that's how you're going to start. All right? So you're going to start by warming up. Get the feeling of the pick against the strings. Get the feeling of your fingers having to fret those chords. Any chords you know at this point, practice switching to them. Get a good strum going. Pick a simple strumming pattern, down, up, down, or down, up, whatever. I mean, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, down. Anything simple that gets your 2 hands moving in a confident way. We don't want to be starting out with something like playing triads and not being able to fret the right note and it sounds terrible. So now you're 3 minutes into practice and you're already sounding terrible. It's going to shift your whole mindset. So start off with something that you know. So if you only know 2 chords, just start playing those 2 chords. Okay, get the feel of them. Most of us, if you're asking about how to practice, I'm assuming you got a few things on the fire that you know how to do. Run through those ones that you need to practice the least. So if you know 2 or 3 chords or 3 or 4 chords in a row, play those 3 chords in a row. Play those 4 chords in a row. Get confident, right? All right, the next thing, because this is when you're at your most freshest. So you've come off your warm-up, you're feeling good, you're eager to learn. This is when you would go into things that you are working on or want to work on. So if it's a bar chord, this is when you're going to start practicing your bar chords. Okay? If it's a triad or another type of power chord or something that you're working, this is when you do it. If you are learning a scale, this is when you break into scale mode. Okay? You would spend, you see, you shouldn't have a lot of things that you're working on at once, because that goes against what I kind of recommend that you do or don't do, in that you go in all these different directions. But of course, after a while of just taking on one thing at a time, absolutely, you are going to have things that you're constantly working on. However, you can't always be constantly working on everything. So at some point, you have to close that chapter. So for example, let's say you're good with you got three chords that you're good with: G, C, G, and you're good with them. So you use that in your warm-up. Now you're working on other things. You're working on bringing the A minor and or the E minor into those three chords to make it four chords. Then that'll be one of the first things you'll work on. So you've got your G, you got your C, you got your D. Now you're working on bringing it into an E minor. And once you think you're able to go to that E minor from all the other three chords, then you would start playing four chord progressions with that E minor included. So now you've got four chords that you're running, okay? Now let's say at the same time, a week ago, you started working on your A minor pentatonic scale. So I would take the amount of minutes that you want to put into the chords. There's no rule. It's play your chords, practice them until you've made some sort of headway. You don't have to conquer everything in one day, but you're better than you were yesterday. By all means, keep going. But if you were to spend a good 15 minutes on that, 20 minutes on that, right? To make that third or fourth or fifth chord, you bring it into the fold and start playing it. Start playing it with other chords that you know and make a progression out of it. Okay. Then, man, these ads are getting a little bit out of control, eh? I'm sorry you have to go through this on my site. I have nothing to do with it. Um, the YouTube controls all that. Even if you are not a monetized channel, they put ads up anyways. It's something you sign when you agree to use their platform. So in this case, we've just sat through 4 ads, and I think that that's just way too much. So I don't know if we're ever going to get, which we're not. My Lord. That's just terrible. Okay. All right. So let's say you're working on a scale. So then you've warmed up, you've worked on your chord progression that you're learning to play, you've added another chord, and you're kind of getting headway in that. When you get to the point after 15 or 20 minutes that you think, hey, you know what? I'm good. All right, let's pick up something else that we're working on, right? And in this case, I'm just saying, throwing it out there, it could be a triad, it could be a power chord, it could be a song. I'm going to say it's a scale, okay? And we're going to pick up where we left off the last time, and we're going to continue to work on our scales. That'll take us however long you want, 10, 15 minutes on that, okay? If you have 4 hours to put into this, then obviously each segment, you're going to spend more time than I'm telling you. And if you only have half an hour, then obviously each segment would be quicker. But that's okay, as long as, whether you practice for 20 minutes or 3 hours, as long as it's quality practice, okay? The more the better, absolutely. You'll get there quicker, but it's got to be quality. Because if it isn't, you're not really doing yourself any good. In fact, you're probably getting some bad habits into your routine, right? Because you're being maybe a little bit sloppy and not as disciplined. Um, and then, as I've already mentioned, I chose scale that I was working on, but it could have been a song. And if it is a scale, then the next thing it might be is a song. And I always recommend when you're starting out, pick two songs that mean something to you. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but I'm not the type of person that someone can say, oh, play so and so by so and so. And even though I can play every chord that I need to play for that song, and I'm confident and comfortable and I know I can play it, if it doesn't do anything for me, like if that song doesn't inspire some sort of passion within me, now this is just me, then I don't bother. Okay? I recommend wholeheartedly that you pick a song to learn for your first few songs that means something, that really bring out something in you. Okay? It's so important. So at that point, I would work on one of my two beginner songs. One, if you can, if one is fine, that's fine. But I would prefer. It's good to have diversification or diversity, and one is okay, but two's better. But if it's one, start play that song a little bit, right? So whichever song you're learning. Work on the strumming, work on your chord changes. Hum the song out loud as you're playing it. If you can sing it, sing along with it. Okay? So you would practice a song or two. Now, so we've covered warm up, we've covered adding whatever you're working on in the last little while. Now remember, we got to draw the line somewhere. So you can't go like five things. Oh, I'm working on this. Well, and oh, I'm working on that too. And I'm working on this. Well, see, because then you're going to be back into the habit that probably a lot of you have already gone through, is that you kind of learning everything and learning nothing. You're learning everything, perfecting nothing. And we want to get away from that. Practice is about perfecting things so we can move on, right? So we've covered warm up, we've covered hitting the most difficult things that you find most difficult. That's why I can't say that you should do this first, but whatever you find the most difficult, overwhelming, you want to do that right away when you're fresh and you're motivated. And then we've moved into something else, whether it's a chord or a song you're working on or a scale, right? And we go through everything that we're working on. Now that might take us 20 minutes total. That might have taken us 45 to 50 minutes total. Again, it's up to you to decide how much time you can put into each segment before the wheels fall off. So we're just using an hour, right? So now we've probably eaten up 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Okay. The last bit is much like if you've ever played any organized sports at all. Usually the coach makes you go through plays and skills, and you got to do these drills. And then what do you do near the end? They throw the ball out or the puck or whatever, and they go, here, play around, just have fun. And that's what you're going to do for the last bit of your guitar playing. You're just going to do silly things. Like, for example, you might just take one string and try to make little things like make little melodies. What happens when I do this? And then do this? Oh, maybe if I do it here. You get to hear things. Hey, if I... That kind of sounds like it belongs in a song, back to back. You just learned something, right? Or, you might decide, hey, you know what? What was I working on? I was working on my G major scale earlier. Well, why don't I play it on one string? G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And then try to make little... Make little melodies, little things like that, right? Maybe if you're a little more advanced and you're starting to play you want to learn little walk-ups and walk-downs, you might do something like this. All right, anything that is just out of the box, it doesn't have to be structured. It just gets you thinking. And again, I don't know what you're thinking about, so I can't give you an exact thing, you know. Now, if I was structuring your lessons and your progress and it was up to me, then of course that's different because then I could lay it out for you. But so you mentioned, I just looked at your question. So you are more of a beginner. So in that case, what we want to do is we want to focus on the two essential things that it takes to play a song. And that is the chords, learning how to fret them and how to strum them, and then overall your strumming. So if you're a beginner and you're working on G, C, D, there's a good chance that's going to be your warm-up as well because that's all you know. All right? So if that's the case, start out with what you know the best, the G chord. And if you think you switch to the C better than the D, then just do this for a few minutes. Just get your fingers going. Feel yourself around the guitar a little bit, right? Get the feel of it, get the sound of it. And if you're strictly a beginner and you only know a few things, you only know 3 chords, then it's pretty simple. You're going to take that hour and you're going to strum your little heart out with what you know. Really simple. So if you know G and C and you're struggling to get to that D, then you're going to spend an hour playing G, C, and D and really emphasizing your change on that D. Slow it right down if you have to, right? So that you literally are going G, C, D, C, D. Yeah, that's so right. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter um, how long you've been playing. Even at the master level, you got to slow things down to figure them out, to build them and put them into your muscle memory. I mean, I do it all the time, right? So nobody is unique to that. So remember that, whether you're a beginner or not, the best way to learn anything new in life is to go and walk through it first, take it slow, get the foundation, get the proper techniques involved, and then once you've done that, add speed to it slowly but surely. Brenda, I am working on a beginner's course. I am working on, yes, I am working on one. So stay tuned. It's coming very soon. I've got a little website that's pretty close to being done, and I will have a Patreon page as well. But so yeah, there's stuff coming. Okay. All right. Hello, Jose. Nice. Kansas. Beagle Mama. Nice. Kansas brand new guitar. Nice. Okay, so you're just starting out. So your fingers aren't even sore yet, I'm assuming, unless you've played a little bit before, maybe. If this is your first time with the guitar, don't get overwhelmed and don't look too far ahead. It will hurt you. Especially if, look, I don't know anything about you either, and part of my approach to learning is really understanding the mental end of things. You can find the physical stuff anywhere on the internet. You know, and everybody, there's so many physical things that you could do. It's almost infinite. So it's so important that you don't get bogged down in too much information, because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You can't do anything unless you know how to fret and change from one chord to another and know how to strum them. That's it. Those should be the only two things that you're worried about for the next 2 months minimum, is learning a chord. So if you don't know any chords, start right here. C or G or D, whatever chord, E, A. Go to the inner Google, and you want to learn the second chord that's in the same key. So what I mean by that is, if you only know how to play an E, so there's your E major, and someone said, put your fingers here, do that, and strum all of the strings. You are, well, congratulations, you're playing your first chord, okay? All 6 strings being strummed. Now it might sound like this. That's okay. It's going to sound like that. So your first goal is to be able to strum that E chord in a somewhat of a consistent, ear-pleasing way, okay? And again, that could take a time. I mean, the first day for me was an E chord, and I went like this. Now, that was probably awful. But you know what? It was the first thing I ever played that was anything close to being musical. And then I read the book, and it said, okay, make sure all 6 strings are strummed in an even way, right? And that sounds so easy, but it's not. So I had to work on that. And then never mind up. I was just going down. And that's what I recommend you do right now. Just downstrokes. There's your E chord. And then they told me, take your finger off. And now you're playing your second chord, E minor. Hey, this is easy. And they say this is hard, this is easy. I'm rocking now. So I'm thinking this is going to be easy. So I go 2 chords, and I've only been playing guitar for 5 minutes. So there's a perfect place to start if you have never done this before. Play your E major chord, okay? First finger, 3rd string, 1st fret. Big fat finger, 5th string, 2nd fret. Ring finger, 4th string, 2nd fret. It'll look like that. Make sure only your pads of your fingertips are on the strings in the proper frets, and strum all 6 strings. And at some point, lift that finger off, and you just played 2 chords. Then put it back on. Take it off. If you did it with a little bit of musicality or musicianship, it would sound like this. No big deal, no big change, but it's music. That'll get you going. And if that's the chord you know, then you look in on the inner Google and you ask for, what are the chords in the key of E or the key of A? Okay? And you'll get the letters A, E, and D. So if you can play E, your next chord you're going to learn will be A. And even if you can just play those 2, like that, E, A. Well, guess what? In a short time, you could play something like, don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, I just can't think you understand. And you can dab a ba 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 ba, and all kinds of other things that you can come up with in your head. All right? So now you're off to the races with 2 chords from the same key. Now, if you were to add that 3rd chord, now the whole world opens up. So once you get to the point where you can play E Without stopping, go to the A. Without stopping, go to the D. There's 3 chords. Now you can do all kinds of stuff. Well, we're big rock singers, we got golden fingers, and we're loved everywhere that we go. We sing about beauty and we sing about truth for $10,000 a show. All right, we got all. Okay, so this is a song called "The Cover of the Rolling Stone" by Dr. Hook, and it's 3 chords, E, A, D, and there are thousands of songs like that. So now you don't know how to play, say, a D or a C or a E minor or an A minor or whatever, but don't matter. You got 3 chords under your belt, and now you're well on your way to learning all kinds of songs. So you'd go to your inner Google. This is the best way to use the inner Google. Don't use it, going around looking to be a guitar pro in 6 weeks. It's not going to happen. And all it's going to do is you're going to get all this stuff that you're going to watch, that you're going to think, hey, this is really cool, I got to learn this. But you don't understand that you're probably not ready to learn those things that you're watching because it's on a different level. You have to have a foundation first. So you don't know this at the beginning as a beginner. So you start learning, trying to learn all these difficult things, and you physically can't do it, or you don't understand the theory involved in making you do it, whatever. And all it's going to do is set you back. So remember, when you pick up your guitar at the very beginning part of your journey, your goal is to play songs. So get a simple, easy 3 chord songs that mean something to you. It could even be Row, Row, Row Your Boat, whatever, Silent Night, something that really gets you going, means something to you. Learn the 3 chords, learn the song. It's not going to sound good at the beginning, but get in there. It's so nice to be with you. I love all the things you say and do. And it's so nice to hear you say, I'm gonna love you in every way. Oh, I got a notion, you're causing commotion. That's da-da. Oh, it's so nice to be with you. I love all the things you say. Basic strum pattern, and you got yourself a song. If you want to know what that song is, it's a song by Gallery. If you want to do the inner Google, you'll see that it's there is another chord in it in the bridge. You don't have to worry about that at the beginning, but that's an example of a simple song that you want to learn. Another one might be in a different set of chords. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. There's a perfect beginner song because it forces you to, to change. It's not the same 3 chords. One of them is different the second time around. But these are the kind of things you want to start out with your new guitar. Again, ignore all these fancy things. Bar chords, power chords, triads, scales. You do not need them. You will not need them unless you are a really, really fast beginner. Like there's something about you you just get it and off you go. You ain't going to need any of that stuff for at least a year. I mean, I played 4 or 5 years. I didn't know what a key was, what the relevance of a key. Why do I need to worry about what key a song is? I didn't know. 5 years played, didn't know any of that. I just went to the inner Google, got my chords, figured out compared to what I remember in my head what that song goes like, and made the best of it. And over time, every day, making it sound better and better. And what makes your songs sound better and better are when you start getting better and better with your strumming, chord changes, and touch and feel. Then you will start thinking about things like rhythm and timing and tempo, and what those three things do and why you don't. I mean, yes, if you can learn them day one, fantastic, and start implementing rhythm patterns day one, but that's not realistic to do. Okay, we deal in reality here. Okay, and that's not realistic. Okay, but when you get to the point where you've got three chords rolling and you're starting to sing a song, or they are from a song, you're trying to replicate that song, well, that's the time to start trying to do different things with your right hand. Implement some different kind of strumming patterns. Down, 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 up, up, down, up, down, 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 up, 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 up. I went down to the corner store. Whatever it is. Implement strumming patterns. Start to make those chords sound a little different, a little unique. After that, it's just TMI. As a new guitar player, that's it. That's what you should be working on in your first month or so of guitar. So if you go to my channel on here on YouTube, you'll see that in the last month or so, I've released 3 or 4 videos that are all aimed at that. Other than Strum Like a Pro, because in order to strum like a pro, you need to strum like a beginner first. So you're going to watch the video, I believe it's called Start Playing Songs Fast or Tomorrow or something like that. And that basically gives an in-depth explanation of what I just talked about, is learning 3 chords from the same key, learning how to transition your chords with your left hand, and learning how to put a strum to them with your right hand, and using those skills to start playing easy 3-chord songs. Okay? Easy 3-chord songs, not Stairway to Heaven or Hotel California or something by Dire Straits or something that has 6 chords and changes every 2 beats. You don't need that. You want nice, easy 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Yeah, I don't mind Cream. I like that one album they did. It was different, and yeah, there was some really good songs on it. But I'm not a fanatic. I Part of it is because I'm not a big fan of Eric Clapton. I think he was just a hideous individual, and I just don't have any, like, when you don't like someone and you don't. I don't want to get into all that stuff, but when you just don't have a like for someone, you tend not to be into their music. So, hey, they are what they are, and 3 pieces like that make all that noise. It's pretty good. Greetings from Germany. Nice. Oh, sorry. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, Brenda, I get it. All right. So, squeezing the strings too tight, that's only because you're a beginner. And that's only because you are fighting. What do I mean by that? Think of this whole process as a computer, right? And you have a low end computer, and you ask it to do certain things. So what happens is when it gets bogged down and you click somewhere, you get that little spinning thing or the time thing, I'm thinking, because it's got too much to do and it can't do what you're asking it to do. All right, when we're learning how to play guitar, our brain is like that. Think about it. The first day, you're just worried about where do your fingers go. You don't even know what you're supposed to do with this hand. So you just do this, right? And then you got to figure out that. Now, a lot of times, we're panicking. because we're not confident, we don't know what we're doing, and we're literally grasping at straws. And we just feel that, okay, this will make it better. Just right? I can't explain the 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 physicality or the kinesiology behind what I'm trying to explain to you. What you're doing is completely normal. I did it, and I bet every beginner out there is doing it. But you're doing it because you are not yet comfortable or confident with the guitar. It feels like a big suitcase has been plopped in your lap. You don't know what's going on. As simple as that. The more you play as the days and weeks progress, this guitar will feel more comfortable sitting in your lap. Okay? As your physical memory, your muscle memory, I call it the guitar foundation, starts to build. Guitar foundation, left hand, right hand, ear, and brain. We're not worried about these two right now. We're too green for that. Right now, our guitar foundation is this and this. And all I'm saying is that right now, this is so overwhelmingly difficult, if not uncomfortable and even painful, that your brain is strictly hyper focused on making sure that you get your fingers on the right spots for the C or the D or the G or the E minor or the A minor, whatever chord you're learning. And as such, you're not thinking of anything else. And you're literally holding on for dear life. So there's not much you can do other than keep playing your guitar, because the more that your brain starts to think about the right hand, oh wait a minute, I can't think of the right hand because I got to babysit the left hand. But the more, that's like your computer, the RAM in your computer. It gives a little bit of RAM to that program. Oh, she's starting another program on her computer. I got to dedicate some RAM to that, and then RAM to this. And that's what your brain is doing when you're learning, okay? Whether you're juggling, one ball is easy. Two balls, okay, I might drop one. Three balls, they're all over the floor. Until you do it over and over and over and over. And all of a sudden your brain figures out, okay, if you throw the ball this high, okay, and the ball is so heavy, then you have 0.38 seconds to throw the other one up and get it in. You understand? And your brain figures out and tells your hands what to do. Now, at first, your hands are going, I can't do it. But then you try it again, and after a half hour, you only drop the balls every few times. And after 2 hours, you only drop the balls 10 times. And then next day, you only drop the balls 5 times. You see my point? Because your brain is communicating, and now everybody's starting to figure it out, and now it comes in. This is the exact same thing. So day one, you're like this. Okay, it's hard, but when you think about it, you're only doing 2 things. And really, right now, I'm only doing 1 thing. I'm only strumming. Because once I've got my connection, I don't move. Now I'm doing 2 things, changing and strumming at the same time. That's what you're doing. Even juggling is too hard to really give an analogy as a beginner. This is what you're doing as a beginner guitar player. Now, I know people that if I said to you, quick, rub your belly, pat your head right now at the same time, they could either do it right away or within 5-10 seconds, they're doing it successfully. And then there's people that 3 hours later, what are you doing? Well, I've almost got this. Okay? This is what you're going through. So as far as the squeezing, that is just a comfort thing. Everybody does it. Hell, I still do it sometimes. I was at a jam the other night, and there were a lot of good guitar players there, and I felt semi-overwhelmed, right? And I'm trying to find my spot. I don't want to set off any alarms. And a little bit into it, I'm realizing I'm really stressing over this. Like I had tension. And here I am, Mr. No Tension guy, and I had tension, only for a little bit, but I had it. Because confidence, doubts, all these things are going through your head. So completely normal, okay? That will go away. Now, as far as peaking goes, nothing wrong with that. So the two things that you're doing, okay, you have not yet got to the point that you can dance like no one's watching. So you're not doing anything wrong. It's the common evolution of this whole thing. So look, what happened to me was when I got to the point where I didn't have to look very much at what I was doing, then I decided I needed to start learning how to play standing up. So I put a strap on, stood up, and then the whole guitar fell forward like this. So now when I look down, instead of seeing that line of strings, I'm looking at the top and back of the fretboard. I can't see where I'm supposed to put my fingers for that C chord. I can't see it. So it's almost like you're starting all over again as a beginner. But it didn't last long. And now I can stand up and I can sit down and do whatever I want. So look, I wouldn't worry about what you're doing. But if you really want to smarten that up, then try to keep your guitar at the what we would call the proper or normal strumming angle. And if you have to, lean in, lean over, peek. Everybody does it. Everybody peek. I still look. I still watch my chords many times. Okay? There's no law against it. You're not doing anything wrong. Okay? So we want to, instead of relying on moving the guitar, move your body, move yourself. You ever seen guys, I'm going to stand up, but I'm probably going to be out of your range, but they're playing guitar and they're like this, right? And they're playing all these solos and stuff. Well, have you ever thought that maybe they're in that position because they too need to see and want to see the notes? And when they change from a box of 4 notes or so here, or 5 notes, and they want to play them here, that they actually are more comfortable making sure they land on that A or that G? Everybody looks. So what you're describing, not a big deal. Just try to keep the guitar at an upright. You're never going to be 90 degrees straight like that. Like, it's just not going to be, right? But yeah, it's a good idea to start and just bend in a little more, right? That's all. But none of those things that you described right now are anything you should worry about. These are just beginner things. And in a perfect world, we would start from day one with perfect posture, and have our angle of our guitar at 83.5 degrees, and we would have every finger at the perfect, okay? Hey, Larry, first song you teach. Yeah, I'm not sure which song, but I'm pretty sure it was, like, both of those are very easy songs and they have a good flow. So I'm pretty sure I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, touch and feel is so important. And that comes with confidence, and that comes with just being comfortable. And as, again, I deal a lot in, or more in, the psychology behind learning the guitar, or learning anything really, but learning the guitar because that's what we're trying to do. And as I said, you can get the technical things anywhere, and what to do, scales, whatever, chords, whatever. It's how you go about learning them and what you do with them, and understanding that, again, the big thing is understanding that you don't need to know everything in order to play this instrument. You just need to know how to play a few chords. That's it. That will start you off. And then, you kind of get to the point where all of a sudden you're not squeezing your strings anymore. And all of a sudden, 3 or 4 different strumming patterns. And all of a sudden, you feel like, even though you can only play 4 or 5 songs and not intricate versions with intros and middle 16ths and picking out notes, but just the basic chord structure of the song, and you just start building on that. You're sounding good, even though you only know a few things. And you'd be surprised what that does to the old ticker up there. It makes you feel good. And when you feel good, all of that little stuff goes away. I guarantee you. I promise you. Okay? What else have we got here? Hi, Randy. Yeah, the difference between sitting and standing is huge. I didn't realize how difficult it was. Um, when you stand up, you put the strap over. When you stand up, something happens. Now, I found it a little better if you tie the strap up here as opposed to use that knob they give you down here. It could be just me, but I find that it keeps the fretboard back a little bit, or at least straight. Where when you use this knob here, when you put it over your shoulder, the guitar, I'm exaggerating maybe, but goes like that on you. So it actually goes front forward. And when you look down, you can't see anything. So again, when you're standing though, you have a little more versatility. Like you can kind of bend in different directions. You can hunch over a little bit. You can arch you can bring your back up so that, that would be the equivalent of sitting down and tilting your. Now you really shouldn't do this right at the beginning. Like have your guitar at almost 45. But why not? If that's what makes you and gets you playing those 2 or 3 chords necessary to play a song, and if you can play them sounding good, who cares? So what do you say to the person that plays like this? I mean, there are people that play the guitar like this. So this should be, here, I'm going to try and do it. I'd have to find, okay. So I'm sure they have certain fingers they use, but look, this is a G string, or this is a G chord. Right? I could play it like this. Nobody says there's a rule or a law that says I got to hold my guitar like this. If I can figure it out, there's a lot of people that tune to an open G, and that's what I forgot. I keep forgetting my slide because somebody asked me about doing a slide. But I can play an open G. I could tune this to an open G and just strum the strings like this, and then run my slide. I can make music. If I had this to an open G, that would be an A, B, A. Who says I gotta hold it like that? But I do understand what you're saying. But nothing that, don't worry about when they say, oh, you're gonna develop bad habits. Don't worry about that. That's a load of bullshit. Okay? Yeah, you'll have a bad habit for a while until you figure it out and get better, and then you'll rectify that. I had a lot of bad habits. So let me just show you some of my bad habits when I started. Well, they told me they were bad habits. Some of them I still do now. So here was the biggest one I used to get criticized for, was this. I don't know if you know what I'm doing wrong here, but I'm technically playing between the strums. So not only is this not good for a timing perspective, but think about it. I'm playing G, C, D, but I'm playing it like this. G, C, D. I'm playing something. So what am I playing? Well, I'm playing this. And what's that? Well, that's what happens when you play just the strings of your guitar. Eddie 8, Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie. So, is this some form of an E chord? Don't know. But it doesn't sound terrible in between the chords. So listen again. G. In this case, I played it up before, which I tend to normally do. Did that sound too bad? Doesn't sound bad at all. But it's technically not a good thing to do. So that's a bad habit that I had. What was the other bad habit? Other than my timing, which was horrible and still is to some extent. Okay. But guess what? It doesn't matter because timing, what is timing? Timing means that you're strict about the beats in the bars of music that you play with the chord that you're using. So, for example, if there's 4 beats of G and 8 beats of C, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, and every beat is to be the same width apart, the same tempo. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and that's timing. So that the bass player, the drummer, the other guitar player, they all know exactly where they need to be every time. The singer, everything. Of course, crucial if you play in a band. Crucial if you're playing for a singer to sing to. Crucial if you and your buddy are sitting down jamming on a song. When you're playing on your own, not so crucial. If I'm doing a gig and I'm playing Knocking on Heaven's Door, and I decide that after the second verse, and I just want to do some Knocking on Heaven's Door kind of thing to stretch the song out, I might play a little faster. I want to slow it down. No matter. It's only me. Okay? I might decide that I want to stay on the D. For whatever reason. I can do that because I got nobody that's relying on me. So technically, as a solo player, timing is important, but it's so overrated. And it's just another thing that puts undue pressure on you for no reason. Now, I told you before, I had horrible timing. And to some degree I still do. But it's never been an issue. It's never stopped me from learning to play 100 songs, from getting my guitar skills to the point where if I never heard of a song before and you showed it to me on an iPad and I saw the chords, I could figure it out. And I could play a rendition of it. Well, it might not be the right one because I don't know the melody, but I could put those chords, strum those chords, sing the lyrics in some version of a song, make it some version of a song. I could do that, right? But it's not going to be the same as someone who is putting their heart and soul into playing and singing that song. But I could get by. But once you get to that point where you're confident and comfortable, even if you only play 3 or 4 chords, all of a sudden you're going to realize that you don't have to bend your guitar anymore, and that your pick isn't flying out of your hands all the time, and that your strumming is more equal and soft, touch and feel, right? It just happens the more you play. So a lot of these little things are just part of the whole process. Now, I'd be concerned if you were playing for 2.5 years and you're playing 20, 30 songs and your strumming and stuff's getting pretty good, but you still are chopping at the strings or playing with your guitar bent, or your timing is just horrible the few times it has to be good, that you can't even play with a basic metronome, then it'd be a concern. But not in the first, especially the first few months. And, again, we're not trying to be professionals here, right? We're just trying to learn how to have fun and play songs with the guitar. So. Oh, I've got bad habits. Trust me. Um, trying to get these messages to scroll. There we go. Uh, Bad Habit is a good song to play. Uh, all right, let's see what we got. Uh, if I've missed anything here. Hello, Cooper Tong. Yeah, so I have bad habits, and as I mentioned, I kind of outlined one, which was the whole playing, strumming in between. So easy to do if you're not careful, and that is a product of not using a metronome and not taking the time to think, get my brain involved, to think of the syncing between my left hand and my right hand. Okay, so let's just quickly on the metronome. Playing with a metronome from day one can be confusing. So I wouldn't really, if you can do it, great. I tried it on day, I don't know, 7, 8, 10, because someone told me I should. And I got this metronome. It was one of those old fashioned, the ones that do, chew, chew, chew. And I couldn't do it because it was this, and I couldn't do it. And right away, that put it in my brain, along with a few other things, I will admit, but that I couldn't play guitar, that I wasn't supposed to be learning guitar, that I didn't know what I was doing, that I had no reason doing this. All because I couldn't play to a frickin' click. I was up when I should have been down. I was going click, 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 and I'm trying to hear the click, and my brain. Remember before I told you it only has so much RAM, and everything was focused on this. I couldn't even hear the click. Man, the first time that I could play a basic version of a song, I sat down with a buddy. We were having a few pops, and I started playing. Hey Ray, what have you learned? Because they're all, they knew I was a beginner, and I started playing the song, and my buddy's all impressed. So he starts next to me, maybe playing a little scale to my song. That freaked me out because I wasn't used to that. Never heard it before, and now all of a sudden I'm hearing someone play. It didn't sound like me, so I just stopped playing. I froze like a deer in a headlight. I did that for the longest time before I could actually play and listen. Oh, see? And listen to either other musicians or a song that I was playing to. I couldn't do that. I couldn't play to that click track. Click, 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 click. Now I'm clicking when I should have been clacking, and I'm upping when I should have been downing and it just messed me up. Don't worry about it. For all these guitar snobs that'll tell you you're developing a bad habit, yeah, for a while. Oh, it's going to be a lot harder when you try to break that habit. No. In fact, it was easier because why? Because I'm better now. I got a guitar foundation. I'm a juggler now, right? So let's work on timing. Put the metronome on. Click, 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 click. I mean, no. It's easier now. So again, don't get hung up on having to do things, the old way that everybody else does. Because you don't have to. You got to do what works for you. And if it's no metronome for now, no metronome. Then you might try it again in 3 months and see how your skills have progressed. You got a little more confidence. Now try the metronome. Keep it slow and start out with downstrokes. Click, 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 click. And then try to get one in between the click, right? That's the up. That's all you need to do as a beginner. Strum down and up. Eighth notes, that's it. Quarters, wholes, which you'll never use as a beginner, but as you get more experienced, you'll realize that the more you let the chord play out and don't play every beat, the more sophisticated you sound as a player. So you won't need as a beginner to know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm playing whole notes. And, If my aunt had a basket full of them, we'd have dinner. Like, it means nothing to me to say that I'm playing a whole note at this point, because I don't know what that is. Or playing half notes. Okay, that means there's 2 of them in the bar of 4. Okay. It means nothing. Don't worry about it. Here's what you're worried about. Playing quarter notes. 4 notes and a beat of music. That's a 4/4 time signature. That is the majority of all music out there. If you can do this, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you can play like this, you can play any song out there. May not sound exactly like the song if someone's sort of, I mean, it'll be the lyrics and it'll be the chords, and you'll hear the song melody because you're playing the proper chords in the right order. But it's a basic version. But that's fine. And then as we get better, sound a little different. And then, as we get a little better, as in we learn another strumming pattern, notice I didn't play in between. Right? Then when you take that strumming pattern and you make it quicker, then when you take that strumming pattern and you change on and up, makes it even sound funkier. And then when you get my point, right? When you take that same strumming pattern and play it twice as fast, it sounds even different and better and faster and stronger and all that. So it's just evolution. That's it. Okay? Don't get overwhelmed. So I think the beginners here get the message that we don't have to, well, we never will perfect anything and build Rome in a day. Not going to happen. Nobody can. I've never known anybody that can learn the guitar in a day. When you see things on your social media, oh, this is day 12 of me learning guitar, and they're doing this. No, it's just a setup for clicks, but that's not real. That's not reasonable expectation. So you're in for the long haul. So all we can do is start trying to get those chords sounding good as soon as we can, so that the process of acquiring the rest is as fun, easy, enjoyable, and as quick as possible, so that we look back and go, holy jumping, I've been playing this thing for 8 months. Can you believe it? Where if I had a set at the beginning, you're going to struggle every day for 8 months before you can finally, put 4 chords together and make it sound like a song. A lot of you might just say, you know what? I don't think I've got 8 months here to do this or put into it, so I think I'm going to pass. And that's the reality. So I think that if you don't look ahead, the worst thing I did was look ahead, right? And as I talk, I'm just going to check one thing, because I got to add some power here. But I made a big mistake when I was starting out. And it was hold on a minute here. All right. Booger Crane. All right. So you might notice a difference in sound or texture or something going on here. Because I had just switched over from one feed to another without explaining what I just did. So I'm hoping you guys can hear me a little better now. I know it was might have been a little weird before. I was coming from the microphone on my iPad. This should sound a little better. All right. Day 30 and I don't know shit. Completely normal. So don't worry about it. Keep it up. By day 60, you'll probably know a little bit of shit. And then by day 80 or 90, you'll know enough shit to play some shit. And that's basically the way to look at it. But if you look too far ahead like I did, so I was going to tell you about when I started out, and okay, I will make a note of this and check out the song. Live It Up. Mental as Anything. Never heard of those dudes or people. Okay. I'll check it out. I will definitely check it out. Okay. I'll tell you what. I wonder if I can take a quick look at it right now. Let's get rid of this. So I'm going to just do it and see if it might not be in a database, but let's see if we can find it somewhere. All right, so we want to learn Live It Up. Live It Up. Chords. And they are by Mental as Anything. Let's see if we get a hit on that. Look at that. Okay. All right, so I've got a couple of versions here, and I think you'll find that's what happens a lot with this inner Google thing. You're going to get different versions depending on what key someone is comfortable in singing it in. So the chords that they're going to show you are different. Sometimes it depends on whether or not there's a capo involved, and sometimes it doesn't. The good thing is when you don't know what a song is, sometimes that's better. Okay, now I don't see anything difficult here. I see that there is, in the version I'm seeing, there is a bar chord in the intro and a bar chord there's a bar chord in the intro and in the bridge, a B minor. That's not too bad. All right, so look, I don't know if this is it or not, but this is how I'd go about it. So there's an intro. Then the verse. G, E minor, D, C. I think it does this a couple times. how many times it actually, I'm playing it equal, meaning all chords equal, but it could be less strums on one than the other. And then into the chorus, hey, with you. Now, I'm not asking you if you think that if that's right or not, but is that right or not? I don't even know if that remotely sounds like it. But sometimes, like I mentioned, that's a good thing when you don't know how things go. So you're kind of relying on your own sort of what you're looking at here. Now, I'm just going to go to the other. There was another option here, Live It Up chords by Mental, and they looked a little more, oh no, pretty much the same. Okay, so it's, how can you see looking through those tears? Don't you know you're worth your weight in gold? I can't believe that you're on a done. Let me warm against the cold. A close encounter with a heart on a man. Never gave you half you got. Then you win and you've never been born. That's a shame, 'cause you got a lot. Into the chorus. G with you and sad face. Plays a minute da 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 da. Again, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I will take a listen to the song at this point and see if I'm close. But again, it's hard when you don't know the song. But as far as it being a beginner song, absolutely. Unless there's something in here when I listen to the real recording I see there's a couple of times where the chord changes are close together. One in the chorus where it goes from a G, right? E minor D. That's what it sounds like I would play it. So, hey, with a dead face. And then again here, place to live it up. You beside the dance floor. So there's a couple of spots, E minor, D, right after each other. You would know more than me at this point, I think. Oh, I was close, Betsy. Oh, nice. Okay. So I was close. So again, sometimes that's good when you don't know how it goes and you just kind of get the vibe from the lyrics and where are the chords, because as you know on these sheets, they put the E minor over the word no. I would take that to mean that they want you to hit no with the first on the E minor. Yeah, I mean, that's where it starts. You approach a song, you figure out the chords, you see how many lyrics there are, you try to figure out, now it's not going to be all just 4 beats on G, because how can you see looking through those tears? How can you see looking through those tears? That's how fast I'd have to sing it if it was in 4, right? So it'd be like, how can you see looking through those tears? Don't you know you're worth your weight in gold? I can't believe you're all alone in here. I would think that it's a little airier, so I would go, how can you? I would think it's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How can you see looking through those tears? Don't you know you're worth your weight in gold? I can't believe you're not alone in here. Let me warm your hand against the cold, yeah. Close encounter with a heart-hearted man who never gave him what he got, and made you wish you'd never been born. That's a shame, 'cause you got the lot, yeah. Hey, you with the sad face. Yeah. I mean, I could probably have this song down in about 20 minutes or so, right? But this is a great beginner song. So, Betsy, I think it was, if you continue on, I would learn this song. Now, I noticed that there is an F sharp and a B minor, it says in the chorus, or in the intro, sorry. You don't have to play that. I mean, it would be nice. So what you'd be looking at, this is your F sharp right here. So there's your F. It's a tough chord to play. There's your F sharp, and there's your B minor right under it. So I would just not play the intro, and I would just start off right on the verse. How can you see I've been through those tears? Na, 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 right? Because this is a standard chord progression. So this is the same chord progression that you're going to see, on maybe 10,000 other songs in different genres, maybe more. This is a very G, E minor, D, and C. G, E minor, D, and C. And sometimes you might see G, E minor, C, and D. And I'm just going to play you a couple of more of these. So once you learn these 4 chords, you could do, where, oh, where could my baby be? The Lord took her away from me. She's gone to heaven, so it got to be good. Ba 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 ba. Right? Or we could play. Da da da. Ba ba ba. Ba ba ba. Ba 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 ba. In the tanks. And they're born, and they're gone, ha-na-na-na, right? Or we could play in a different order. Almost heaven, West Virginia, yeah. Blue Ridge Mountains, the Shenandoah River, right? Same 4 chords. So I didn't want to beat up on your song. I just wanted to show that when you approach learning songs, so many times the song that you want to learn has the exact same chords in it as songs you already know how to play. If this is your first song you're learning, perfect, because you are learning, as you just found out, 4 of the most commonly used chords in a progression. Okay? I mean, you can literally play anything. And even if it's not originally in that, there's songs that you could play in this 4-chord fashion like this. So you can't go wrong by learning those chords. Yeah. Everybody does that extra strum thing. So again, the extra strum thing isn't the end of the world. It's not a great habit to get into because it's not right. But having said that, it's not wrong because, again, I do it still. And I've been playing years and I still do it because I kind of think sometimes it sounds good, especially when you're playing those big 6-string chords like G's. You play all 6 strings, or E's. Especially E, because you're playing an E. And when you play just an open set of strings, you're starting and ending with an E. Right? E major starts with an E, ends with an E. Open string starts with an E, ends with an E. So if I'm playing it's not bad. I don't encourage you to do it, but if you are doing it, don't freak out about it. Once you get comfortable, once your strumming hand starts picking up the pace a little bit, you'll be able to erase that, no problem. And look, everybody does those things. Trust me. Yeah, you should always tune your guitar before you play it. I just had a student that I see actually in person, and called me up and said, "There's something wrong with my guitar. I can't get it into tune." And so he brought it down, and it was the tuner had been moved off of the 440 hertz, right, which is the frequency, 440 that everybody plays at. You know, the orchestra, the band, like but on a tuner, you can change that down to as low as, like, I think it's 430 or something like that, and that affects. So that's like detuning your guitar. It changes everything. So he was playing Eddie 8 Dynamite Goodbye Eddie. He was playing G and E, but it didn't sound like it. He was out of tune to people playing in standard tuning. And that's what it was. It was a setting on the tuner, right? So if you live in a climate that is hot and cold, spring, summer, winter, fall, goes -20 in the winter and +30 in the summer, then your guitar is going to, even the best quality guitar, is going to sort of slip in and out of tune as the humidity changes, okay? So you're going to find that in the colder weather, when the air is dry, your guitar will have to be tuned. You'll have to sharpen it. You'll have to always be cranking it tighter, because especially a quality guitar with good wood, loses the moisture, it shrinks. And when it shrinks, the strings are slack, and they got to be tightened to get back to the tuning. Conversely, when there's too much humidity in the air, at 50, 55%, you're going to pick up your guitar and you're going to find you got to loosen the strings, because your guitar is sucking in the moisture and it's expanding and it's stretching the strings. So now they're sharp. So you got to back them off. Okay? And generally, the more expensive your guitar, the more prone they are to changes in humidity. Okay? So you might want to have a hydrometer in your room. If you live in one of those climates, you either should keep your guitar out in a relatively controlled. So, for example, this would be considered my studio. I keep it controlled so that there's no outside air getting in per se, unless I choose to, and I can run a humidifier at 35% or whatever humidity, and I can keep the room at a constant level that's not distressing to the guitars. If not, then you need or should have an in-guitar. They don't do a lot, but they're better than nothing. A little sack that hangs in your strings, and leave your guitar in the case. Because in that tight, controlled, almost air-sealed environment, with a little bit of water in form of a moisturizing sponge that you can buy for $10 at the guitar store, it's keeping some hydration in your guitar. Okay? Yeah, and you're going to find out, Betsy, this is not the first time, or will not be the first time, that you have problems with the strum. The strum is everything, because I've already shown you that you can play hundreds of songs, thousands of songs, 2 songs, 4 songs that have the exact same chord progressions, right? And what will separate the one from the others is the way you strum those chords. So again, strumming is, in my opinion, is 90% of the whole load. When you're beginning, it's 10% because you're learning your chords. But once you've learned your chords and you can swap chords out seamlessly, backwards, forwards, in any order, strumming becomes everything. So, and that's how I wanted to finish off today. I wanted to make sure, if you haven't seen my newest video that I released about Strum Like a Pro. Now, if you're an absolute beginner, no, this is something that you're not there yet, okay? You give it a try, okay, but you're not there yet, because in order to strum like a pro, I guess, one of the biggest things that gets in your way is tension, right? Thinking about it and squeezing and overplaying and over hitting the strings. Okay? And you can't get rid of that right away. That's going to be a while. And you can't strum like a pro if you have tension or if you just don't have that touch yet. But that's okay. Once you bang out on those 3-4 chords constantly, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get confidence and you're going to be comfortable. And then you can start applying some of those more pro strumming techniques, right? But in the meantime, if you just stick to the basics, the pendulum, the elbow moving, make nice, steady, consistent touch and feel contact on the strings, you can run through your 4 chords and they're going to sound amazing. Okay? Now, at this point, when you start adding all these upstrokes, as an example. As you start doing that, you're going to notice, if you haven't already, that the pick moves around in your fingers, in your hands. Again, completely normal. Now, if you get a tube of super glue, crazy glue, gorilla glue, and you apply one little drop on each side, hold your fingers in place for 30 seconds, your pick won't move around anymore. Of course, you're going to have to learn to go to the bathroom with the pick and eat dinner with the pick and make out with a pick and do your job with a pick glued to your fingers. So no, that's not the answer. Okay? What you're going to find is the more comfortable you get. Now, you can try different things. You can try adding a third finger. Okay? I find that a little bit too much, but the guy from Metallica, he plays that way. Hetfield plays with, a lot of times, his third finger to stop it moving around. Okay? So it happens to everybody. But I think you're going to find that it will stop when you get confident and comfortable. Okay? But here's one little tip from the pro side of things. As a beginner, and I don't want you to start this yet until you're ready, but as a beginner, you're taught to strum from the elbow down, right? Pendulum. Keep it going whether you play or you don't play. Keep it going. Whether you hit the strings or you don't stop. That creates your rhythm, right? You're either going to put down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, down, right? Okay, like the pendulum. As you get better, as you move on to bigger, stronger things, what's going to happen is you're going to replace that hinge in your elbow with your wrist. Okay? So all of a sudden, as in the Strum Like a Pro video, you're now strumming like this instead of like this. That means your pick is never away from the strings. You can strum faster. Got more control, more pinpoint accuracy. Okay? You don't have as far to travel, all that stuff. But what you do is you start rolling your wrist like a painter. Okay? So like a painter. Right? So now we are rolling our wrist on the way down. Creates an angle for the pick to just brush on those strings. Now on the way up, a lot of us right now, we're coming up like this. Say it's harsh. And we're at 90-degree angle. String this way, pick that way. So something's got to give, right? And 9 times out of 10, it's your pick. Next thing you know, your pick starts moving around on you, and you got it on the end, and it's almost out of your fingers. And that's why. So it's one of the biggest reasons why. So what we're going to do is we're just going to have our wrist on a bit of a swivel, right? So I'm going to try to turn around here so you can sort of see a little better. So when I'm strumming now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, when I come up, my pick will be facing down, not in. Down. Now what this does, as you can hear, it creates an even, consistent sound on the strings, okay? So now when I'm strumming, I'm exaggerating a little bit so you can see it, okay? I'm almost doing this swivel, and you'll notice that whether or not I'm going down or up, it's kind of the same. All right, so that's kind of from that pro tip video. So if you haven't seen it yet, even though you're a beginner, it's not a hard thing to watch and say, you know what, I get that. You know, I can't do it right now, maybe, but I get it. I understand it. And then when you get to that skill level, like it's already implanted in you, some of these things that will make you an even better strummer. Now, if you've been strumming for a year or, you know, a little less, a little more, and go watch that video because it may give you even just one thing that will take you to the next level in your strumming and your song playing. And then, of course, that elevates everything. Because remember, at the end of the day, it's all about, we're fragile. And it's all about confidence. And I said earlier about not looking too far ahead. So what happened with me was I learned from a book the first time called Guitar for Dummies. And I made a mistake I started off on chapter 1, the nut, the strings, what they're called, the bridge, the sound hole, all that basic stuff. Because I'd never touched a guitar my whole life. And then after a few chapters of other things, I started to get a little cocky. And so I grabbed the pages and flipped open the book. And I landed on this. Now, I'm sure you know what this is. This is otherwise known as hell. Okay? And this is one of, if not the most difficult chord to play on the guitar. Now, when you don't know anything, I looked at the picture in the book and I said, okay, let's give it a try. So again, I don't know anything, no technique, know what to do, what not to do. I'm just trying to put my fingers in the same place as that little 2x2 picture in the book. So I go like this, and then I go, okay, where does this finger, okay, this finger goes here, okay. All right, yeah. And what about these fingers? I got to get these fingers over here, right? I got my elbow out like that, and I got to do that, okay? Oh my God. Oh, I'm in agony. And I can remember sitting there thinking, how in the heck am I supposed to do that? Not only once, but how am I supposed to bounce back and forth from other chords? So right away, I knew in my mind, A, maybe I'm not cut out to be a guitar player, and B, I'm never going to play that F chord. So when I started looking at songs, as soon as I saw the letter F, I was out of there because I knew I couldn't play that chord. And that stuck with me for the longest time, and it really dragged me down because it started me off on my journey with a negative, thinking, okay, until someone tells me otherwise, I can't do this. Instead of, hey, I can do this until something happens to tell me otherwise. Big difference. So I started off because I looked ahead too much. I got intimidated and overwhelmed. So even though I persevered, every step of the way on my journey at the beginning was No, I can't do this. I'm not a guitar player. No, I'm never going to learn how to do this. Okay? So, big difference, right? That's awesome. 75% is not bad at all. B7, yeah, I don't find it that hard. I play a three-note version of the B7 like this, okay? And after a while, right? After a while, remember, this is just D7 or A7 and B7. That's all it is. It's the same shape, right? So if you know how to play a D7, like if you're coming from, say, an A minor 7 to a D7, or you're coming from a C, G, C, D7 back to the G, right? There's your B7 right there. Just move it up 2. There it is. So, again, we all have our thing, right? But for me, that wasn't hard to learn the B7. But anyways, this is the granddaddy of them all. Every guitar person at every level will admit that. This is the chord, okay? And it takes a long time. Thank God I learned the cheater version, which is just as effective and much easier to play, and that allowed me to play F songs. But I didn't play F songs probably for a year until I learned that other way to play the F chord. So, okay, a simple F. Why do you call it a simple F, Rob? I'm just curious. I think I know why. Because it's easier to play, but it's just as effective of an F. And you're probably talking of a few different ones or a couple different ones, but you're probably talking, I would imagine you're talking this F right here. Okay? Let me just make sure that I'm in the picture. I think I am. All right, so if you're talking about this F here, this is the same F. Okay? So I think you know this, but there's only 3 notes in a chord, no matter how you play that chord. Open, triad, or bar. Okay? There's only 3 notes. So in F, right, we need a C, an A, and an F, right? Those are the only 3 notes we need. F, A, and C. And we, in any order, because that would be known as an inversion, but I don't want to get... So F, A, and C. So when we play this bar chord, we are only playing the notes F, A, and C. This finger underneath the C is playing an F. This finger up here is playing an F. This bar finger here is playing an F, which is so stupid. I'm supposed to use the fleshy part of my finger to make that F like that. It's also even harder. You got to play that C right above it. There's a C right there. 2nd string, 1st fret. You got to press them together with the flesh of your... Get out of here. Okay, but that's the F chord. If you want, you just take that out. Now, you only play 1, 2, and 3. That's it. 1, 2, and 3. 5, 4, and 3. 5, 4, and 3. That is the same as... All you're doing is adding that bass note in there and the high F in there. That's it. Okay? There's a triad version. Now, if we do this and bar, let's bring that F back and that C right there. If we do that, there's our F. Okay? If we just take this finger and play the C, just like we're playing a C chord, okay? Put this finger on the A, Now what do we need? We need an F. Take this finger, put it here on the F. 3 fingers, 3 strings over 3 frets. 3 fingers, 3 strings, 3 frets. And there is an F triad. Only play the strings that you're fretting. And you're just playing it. So if that's probably what you mean by a simple F, I play that F all the time. I very rarely go to the full bar. I either go to the full bar or I play this. I don't play those other ones with the mini bar. Some people wrap their thumb over to get that, to bring that F back so they don't have to play the bar. So there's the F note. Here's the 2, the F and the C there. So there's the bar, right? Being replaced by the thumb and the finger. And then put your fingers here. And you've got a full bar chord. I find that it's just too complicated. This is the F for me right here. F. And then I can move that up, right? So I've got my F. I just slide that up. There's a G. And this here is one of my favorite chords. It's an A. F, G, A, B, C. All right? So, no barring. So yeah, it's think of a C, okay? There's your C chord. You have your finger there, you leave it there. Now you have a gap between these 2 fingers. You got 1 string that's open. Just take these 2 fingers, move them down each 1 string, and you got your F. There's your C, there's your F. So later, F and C, you'll find out, are in the key of C, right? So F is the 4th in the key of C. So if you're playing like the 12-bar blues, 1-4-5, or most pop songs, 1-5-4, 1-4-5, 4-5-1, 4-1-5. You could just literally go like this. You can leave this finger in place and just go C, F, G, C, F, G. Okay? C, F. This finger stays locked. These 2 fingers move. F, C, C, F, F, C, C, F. Okay? Kind of like the B minor. Yeah, the same theory applies to any bar chord as far as how you can play it. It's still only 3 notes. So a B minor would be this, which is really, think about it, an A minor, 2 up. There's your B minor. Okay? If I took a capo, put it on 2, right, and played A minor, I'm actually playing a B minor. Listen. Here's the B minor. It's the same. Okay? So we know that. So we could play A minor, B minor. A minor, B minor. It's the same thing. The difference in not having that 1 note, in this case would be the B right here, the 1 note, the difference, I mean, you can't really hear it. And again, if you wanted it in there, you could just do this, right? So instead of, so there's your B minor, okay? You could do this. You could get your thumb around. I mean, you don't have to bar it, but you could bend your finger and just take the B. That's perfectly acceptable, but it's difficult. It's harder to play than the regular bar chord. So just do this. Either play this or change your fingering to play it like an A minor. Just instead of landing it here, land it here. C minor, sharp minor, D minor, D sharp minor, and so on and so forth, okay? But remember, once you leave home base, you can only play those 3 strings. So if you're going to choose to play your B minor like this, when you leave home base, okay, I'm only playing these 3 strings. So remember that. So you have options. I learned my B minor because what happened was I started to play songs. And when you get better and better and play more chords and play them better, you obviously want to play harder songs, and you should. You should always be pushing yourself gently, not jumping in the deep end, just slowly. So you get to that point where you start, you want some more complicated songs, more chords in them, more changes. B minor kept coming up all the time. Nothing else, just the B minor, and sometimes the F sharp minor, depending on what key you play. If you play in a lot of E's and D's, right, you're going to find the F sharp minor, which is this chord right here, is going to come up quite a bit, right? There's your F, F sharp minor. Just lift that finger off. It's going to come up quite a bit. So when that's the case, learn the 1-bar chord. Don't worry about learning the whole thing. I've got a video that I'm going to do on this, and I'm going to talk about this in a live show in the future, so I'm not going to get into it in detail. But the reason is, once you get onto that bar chord thing about moving the shapes up and down, they make it sound so simple, but it's not. You don't have to know just one shape. You got to know 4. So yes, you can play with one shape, but it's a lot harder to play because you're going to be up and down the fretboard. So for example, if I want to play F, C, D, look, I got to go all the way up. Now, even though it's the same shape, I got to get there. So if I do that, you hear the squeaking, which some people like. Right? If not, I got to take this shape off so it doesn't squeak, move it down all the way here, re-land it. It's not that easy. So you wouldn't play that like that. Okay? You wouldn't do that. You would play F, then you go to another shape to play your C, and then you just slide up to the D. So you'd play it like that. Or if it was G, C, D, you wouldn't go G, C. You could, but normally you would go G, C, D. It's right there. Done. No movement. But you had to go from one shape to another. Okay? So forget all that. You don't need it. You already know how to play a C and a D and a G here. You don't need to learn it a second time at this point in your journey. It's just going to set you back, right? Just like my video said. So when comes time to add a bar chord to your repertoire, think of it that way. Think of it as adding a chord to your open chord repertoire. So I already know how to play G, E minor, C, D, maybe even A minor. Now I'm just going to add a B minor. So I'm going to learn how to finger it. There's how you finger it. I'm going to get used to the sound, get used to the strum, right? Once I'm comfortable with how it sounds, then I'm going to start transitioning to and from my open chords, because that's how I'm going to play this B minor. Remember, I'm not going to be a bar chord player at this point. I'm only playing 1 bar chord. So what's going to be before and after that bar chord is going to be an open chord. So B minor, A minor, back to the B minor, G, back to the B minor. Now we'll do C, back to the B minor. Now we'll do E minor, back to the B minor, right? Because that's, even though some of those chords, like it's very rare you're going to go from a C to a B minor. It does happen, but it's rare. It's just allowing you to bring that one more chord, even though it's a bar chord, one chord into your stable of open chords, because that's how you're going to use it, right? You're going to be playing a song, B minor, but all the other three are open chords. Open, open, B minor. So why go down that rabbit hole at this stage of your development? It's only going to set you back. Just learn and play the one bar chord. If it's F sharp, good for you, because B minor, you want to add the F sharp later? Take that finger off, move these two fingers up. There's your F sharp minor. So there's your B minor. Remove the fat finger. Take these two fingers, move them up one string each. There's your F sharp minor. So now you've learned two bar chords. Then take your F sharp minor, play it with your other chords. Done. That'll get you another 150 songs in your repertoire. That'll get you another many, many months of open chord playing with the odd bar chord. It'll start setting the table, moving forward in a non-stressful, more importantly, in a way that won't hinder your development. It really won't. It'll be just like learning another chord. So at this point, there'd be no difference if that other chord was B minor, or as someone said earlier, a B7. Right? It's the same. I mean, you got to learn where to put the fingers. You haven't done it before. So coming out of your G, you're going to have to stop, think about where your fingers go. It's the same thing. So get her done. Because then what's happened is, you don't realize it, but you've already planted the seeds for months later. Because now, again, you may not realize this, but now, if you can do this and start playing a B minor, well, why can't you do this? And make it a D minor or an E minor. It's the same shape. B minor. What if I start here? Or here? C sharp minor, D minor, D sharp, E minor. I already know how to, once I can do that, why can't I do it here? Why can't I do it here? Why can't I do it wherever I need it? So you're already there. And once you're on the rails, then you can move, right? But it's just getting on the rails. So by doing that, you're not only just helping yourself out by taking the stress off of learning and opening up your repertoire to more songs, but you're planting a seed for later on down the road. Okay. All right. So I think we've covered quite a bit today. More than I thought we would. Mr. Titan, sorry, I missed your thing there. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember Mr. Titan. I remember the name. I remember a lot of your names because some of them are really strange names, and I always wonder where you find these names, right? Hi, Frank. Yeah, good idea. Let me just see what you said here. I practice just using my pinky, leaving out my pointer finger to play my chords, then adding the pointer finger. Yeah, you can do that. It's whatever works. I don't think there's any rule that says you got to hit the bar first and then lay the fingers down after. In fact, yeah, I think it's whatever is comfortable for you, right? Let me just yeah, it's whatever happens, whatever's comfortable for you is the important thing to remember, right? It's whatever's comfortable for you. All right. So, hey, I think we've done a lot today. As always, the message at the beginning of the video and now at the end, or of this show at the end, is the same: is don't let complicated things bog you down, and don't let things like that derail you. Everything that was mentioned here today, I'm sorry I don't always have, an exact solution for some of the problems, because as I try to outline quite often, a lot of you, I'm not even going to call them problems, but a lot of you, your issues are not from not from the fact that you're doing something wrong or you're not able to do it. It's because you're not quite ready. Like, you don't have the mechanisms, the guitar foundation isn't polished enough to allow you to do it yet. And even if it does allow you to do it, it doesn't allow you to sound the greatest right now. But that will change, I guarantee, as you build that guitar foundation, as you start getting a touch and a feel, and you start understanding that you are a good guitar player. Even though, see, it's not that you're not good, it's you're limited. You're limited in the chords you play, you're limited in the songs you can play, and you're limited. But that doesn't mean you don't have to be good. Because if you strum well and only play 4 chords, I can play anything. Right? I can do anything I want with those 4 chords and a good strum. Right? Whereas if I know how to play 4 chords, but I don't play them very smoothly, and I have to, not that great, and I can play 3 bar chords or 6 bar chords, but not that good, and sometimes, I think as Barb said, 75%, that's pretty good, but it's not 100, right? So there's going to be, 3 times or so, 2.5 times out of 10 that she's going to clunk those bar chords, and they're not going to sound good, and then that affects you start thinking about it, and then everything can go off the rails. Right? So it's good, but you're not there yet. Okay? So remember, like, that is part of it. And you just got to keep playing and doing it. But you are much better off, again, with a small bass and polish it. And then slowly expand your bass. Take in certain chords, learn a new technique, whatever, right? Okay? So don't let something like a bar chord ruin your progress. There are works around everything. And if you go through my channel, you see, and just the lives we talk about all the time, today we talked about a different way to play your F. So there's probably some people here today that didn't realize that you don't have to play that F anymore. You could just play that F and continue on and carry on and learn new songs with F in it. So many people write me and go, I had no idea that I could do this instead of this. Thanks a lot. Now I'm playing songs with F in it. All right, as usual, if you don't know who I am, don't worry, I'm a nobody, but I'm someone who taught myself to play guitar after 2 failed attempts, and I share with you what got me playing and how easy it ended up being because of the path I took, and how it can be more mental than physical, because most of you out there, you're either at the point where you've been playing a year or 2 and you feel that you're not getting anywhere or that you're stuck. But really what it is, it's a confidence thing, okay? And you haven't broken through to the next level, even though you're more than capable of. And what's holding you back is really more mental than anything else. And a lot of you, it's a touch and feel thing. You know how to play all the chords. You know how to play some bar chords. You know how to play songs. You know different strumming patterns. It just doesn't sound right yet because maybe you're just a little too stabby or just hard on the strings. Okay? That's it. You adjust that, and now all of a sudden you sound like an angel. And it can be that's the simplest of it could be that little of a difference. That little thing that puts you over the top. But you will never go wrong if you keep it short. Okay? Short and sweet, and then add to it. So that's what I did, and I went from zero to hero in literally, well, 3 months. So people that didn't see me for, friends and stuff that I had played with when I was starting out, they didn't see me for 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and it'd be like, holy, what the heck are you doing, Ray? Like, the difference is noticeable. It's like when you lose weight or gain weight, but you don't notice it because you see yourself every day. And then someone who hasn't seen you goes, hey, whoa, you've lost weight or whatever. It's the same thing with your guitar. You hear yourself every day. So don't be afraid to record yourself. Sure, listen to it, but then put it aside. Don't delete it. And then watch that recording 2 months later and compare it to where you're at. And I'll bet you find you're a lot better, but you still don't think you are. Okay? All right, any questions? You can comment on any of the videos. Wait till the next live and ask me. I'll do what I can to help. Other than that, hey, just play your guitar because that's how you get better. And we'll see you again soon, okay? See you later. All right.